Hey everyone. Honestly, didn't want to make this video, but nobody else is publicly talking about it. And many people told me I should do it, even though I'm not part of the community anymore. But personally, I even hate doing this video. I hate it. I'm really not doing this for any attention. The only reason I'm doing this is for awareness spreading and safety of people on the internet, right? You should never trust anybody blindly on the internet, but we're gonna talk about that later still. So, before I show anything, I want to address the important parts of this video, right? So, you have to understand a lot of people have incomplete and wrong informations about this situation, right? And some people know half-truths, and obviously close friends know actually what has been going on. The issue is, some people were basically told stuff from Owl himself, right? About the event. The issue with that is, those versions of the events that Owl said do not match up with what close friends of Owl said. Meaning testimonies of close friends do actually not match up with what Owl said afterwards to other people. I know many people probably went up to Owl and asked him about it, right? But yeah, it does not match up from what I received as testimonies. Obviously, I have to say I was not directly involved with the cases, right? I'm not pretending I was there in every conversation. I'm not pretending, like, honestly, I'm not even part of the shell community, right? But nobody's taken it in their hand to actually do something about this. And I think it's important that the public knows. And I think it's important to prevent stuff like this from happening ever again. And the issue is, this is not the first time. There's actually another person I'm gonna talk about very shortly that I was friends with in the past, but I'm not gonna like talk about too much about it. I'm gonna give you my short version of it, and that I can confirm some stuff, but Awa is not the only one. And exactly because of this, we need to make sure it doesn't happen in the future. I don't think it is safe to blindly trust Owl's version. Obviously, you have to consider when someone is being accused of something, right? It could destroy their reputation, right? Or even create legal consequences. If you think about that, those people want to minimize that as best as possible. Probably one of the reasons, I don't know if this is actually the reason why I was not steering currently, but probably one of the reasons, right? He's trying to minimize it, right? And obviously, if you're in that situation, you would leave things out too. You would maybe even lie. I'm not saying he did that. Maybe you would leave things out on purpose to make it seem, to minimize stuff, right? But obviously, we're not gonna ignore his situation, and we're not gonna ignore his side of the story. But we're gonna compare his side, and we're gonna compare the evidence and the testimonies, right? And one thing I still have to say is, do not harass anybody, threaten anybody, dox, or attack anyone. If you wanna do that with somebody, take it out on me. Honestly, I'm the one who's doing this video, so I would take full responsibilities. Do not, under any circumstances, contact any of his friends, anybody who was mods with him, or anybody who was basically closely related to our. Honestly, those people just don't want to be involved with this case anymore. And obviously, I will censor some names in the things. I was not able to show everything in this video, I can already tell this much, because some close friends do not want to be involved in this. They do not. They don't want to be like censored in a video. Any fucking thing of them related in this video, they just don't. Which is understandable. If you have been a close friend to Aura and you probably know what's exactly happened, you don't want to have to go through that thing again, through that painful memory. So please, under any circumstance, do not contact any of his friends involved. Do not contact the victim. And if you have any evidence, preserve it. And please do not like publicly post anything explicit involving other parties, right? It's just not nice and not good. Okay, let's go over the main thing of this video, right? We have the following claim, right? The issue is that there's not just one bad message and there's just not one understanding in this entire case. So this is a big one actually, right? The issue is that Owl says in his own messages that he had age concerns with that person, victim, whatever you want to call it, right? But issue is he continued anyways, right? Later, he blamed it on alcohol and being misled. The issue is if you're an adult and you have age concerns and you do not make sure the person is underage, then I don't know if you could actually could say you're being misled. If you have age concerns and you don't know if the person is actually overage, then you're an adult. You need to think for yourself. Like, it's like you specifically knew, but you avoided it. But obviously, we don't want to assume here, right? And using alcohol as an excuse is not a good thing too. You're an adult, let's be honest. I'm an adult too. I've drank alcohol many years in my life, and I have never used alcohol as basically an excuse to do something. If you're under alcohol, yes, you're more likely to do things that you wouldn't normally do, yes. But you will still, as a normal adult human being, you would still take 100% responsibility if you do, for example, drunk driving, right? That you take responsibility for that. You know what could happen when you fucking drunk drive? That you could kill people. Like, let's be honest. If you're under alcohol, do not use alcohol as an excuse. You're still your own person. You're still your own responsibility. You still should see it as your own responsibility, right? As I said earlier, multiple people close to him says that he gave incomplete or inconsistent versions of the story. But yeah, we're basically going over short his own admission in chat logs, the timeline of his minimization and delayed accountability, and the multiple testimonies we have from people close to him. Okay, first of all, we're going over the Owl chat logs. Keep in mind, the person that I was talking to here does not know the actual truth. And they talked afterwards, right? Afterwards, things got out, basically. You already see, also I found out, tried to get my CC pulled. This means this is afterwards this issue was brought up to Harrison, right? This is afterwards. Meaning, this is our sides of the story, and the person he talked to only knows our version, right? You have to keep that in mind, right? Okay. First of all, we have Owl here making a funny haha about his whole thing that he won't be doing any VCs without legal representation. Person responded, that's not funny, which I agree with. You should never make a joke about something this serious. I know many people do Epstein jokes, right? But let's be honest, Epstein wouldn't make a joke about his case too, right? You should not make a joke about your own case. That, first of all, that makes you look unprofessional. Second of all, that basically makes you look like you kind of agree with it, bro. That makes you look guilty. Like, it does. Obviously, we're not saying he's guilty, right? At least not yet. Blah blah blah, yeah, they're explaining this at a sorry, and Owl doesn't respond to that immediately. He just said, this is basically leaking, I censored this is leaking the person, by the way, which you're talking to, which is exactly why I censored it, and this leaked another person, so you understand that I'm not trying to hide anything here, right? Also, I found out, blah blah blah, tried to get my CC pulled, right? Meaning, this is after it was brought up to Harrison, right? And then the next day, Owl realizes, yo, sorry for not taking the situation serious last night, it was inappropriate. It took him an entire day to realize, yo, I probably shouldn't have made a joke about that. I don't know if he was drunk doing this joke, but yeah, who knows, right? That's the first one. Okay, first of all, second check log, we have ours saying, yo, the victim came in my chat, being all horny, making people uncomfortable, but he went along with it. I'm a streamer myself. I was a streamer for the shadow community myself. You have probably 95% underage people there. You should not, just because somebody is being horny. For example, I don't know, like, you have people like Godric, right, who are constantly horny, right? Like, who knows how old these people are? They come in your chat, be horny comments. You have people doing horny comments in BWD all of the time. That does not mean as a grown adult that you should engage with that and that you should respond to that. And then you start DMing with her. These are already two big mistakes, right? First of all, you went along with it on stream. And first of all, in that stream could have probably been other minors too. And there, like, if other people were uncomfortable with this already, they should have fucking given you a big red light, right? But okay, he went along with it, right? She dodged the subject of age, right? I asked her, and she said she was of age. This is what ours says. But turns out she was going by Canadian age of consent. That she said she was 17. But I think that only applies if the other people is under 20 or something. I don't know Canadian law or something, but what matters is your country's law, not the other person's country's law, let's be honest, right? But either way, I found out after we had already sent plenty of messages and even some pictures. I'm not gonna comment on that, honestly. The only reason I didn't want someone else in a VC with, yeah, blah, 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 was because I didn't want it getting dragged out even farther. Which is interesting, but I also never really had any intent on talking to those two, okay? I have to say that finding out blah 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 was the one behind the Owl Hate Club has really crushed me. I'm not sure if I'll come back to streaming. Okay? Person he's writing to responding with thanks for your honesty, right? And then also writes, did you genuinely not have any concerns that she was under N18? Like, seriously. Our response with, of course I did. We already talked about that in our first chat log. If you have, or we already talked about that. If you have age concerns with somebody, and especially in a community where a lot of children are active, basically, it is a, Shellshockers is a child game. Of course you should always have age concerns, dude. Always. But, like, if he had multiple times age concerns, and I don't know, right? I don't know. I asked her many times to confirm it, and of course she wrote it weird every time, but she is a weird person, okay? Most of the people mad at me on the former friends of ours side are mad because of me. And another person I censored. You have to understand, both of these sides are directly involved in this case because they were probably very close friends with Owl, right? And they probably know exactly what happened. And there's probably a big reason why they're mad. And the person here responded with, fam, you received CP from a minor. What are you talking about? Anybody would be mad at your friend if you find all of a sudden out, yo, bro received, you know bro for like a couple years, and then you find out bro has been receiving CP from a minor. I know some people are defending Owl on this and saying, yo, he got catfished. We're going over that later. Okay, first of all, we have Owl replying, I did not know at the time, just another reason to give up streaming, right? The person he's writing to said, or basically responded, quoted this message and said, what did she say about this specific message, right? Don't say any specific content, right? And ours says, you think I remember what she said. Which is not a good thing to say. Maybe he really doesn't remember, but normally if you say, I don't remember, then it sounds like a really bad excuse and it doesn't make you look innocent. Like, I'm saying that because, like, if you read this, it doesn't make you look good, right? Of course, I deleted our DMs. Here's a pretty good point on Discord, DMs. You can delete your own messages, but you cannot delete the other person's messages in Discord private DMs. This is one of the points this person brought up. Pretty damn good. Secondly, do you see how bad it looks for you to say, I asked if she was of age, she didn't give a clear answer? I already talked about that. Yes, and I agree with this. Yes, it looks bad, right? And Owl then says, yeah, being drunk and horny didn't lead to the best choices. I clearly fucked up. Here he finally takes responsibility for something, right? Obviously, he doesn't admit he's guilty, but he takes responsibility at least for something, and I respect that at least. In my opinion, as an adult in this situation, you should always take responsibility for this. Like, the other person was underage. You're the adult. You should take the responsibility. But okay. And here this person asked, didn't it go on for weeks, if not months? I will not comment on this because later in the testimonies we have from his close friends, we will see the exact amount of time this thing has been going on, right? Like, I don't understand how this led where it did. Why didn't you ban her from a chat? This is a good question, right? But honestly, yeah, that's not, it's, yeah, whatever, right? Believe me, I wish I had banned her. All I can say is I was thinking with my dick. Okay. Having someone talk about how they want to get to me, and also it was complicated situation with her. She was planning to kill herself almost every time I talked to her. I'm not gonna go on this comment because I will give my own opinion, right? If somebody talks to you and every time you talk with her, she says she wants to kill herself. First of all, you should not talk about anything sexual with a person who's mentally unstable and thinking about killing herself. You should be there for the person and support them so they feel better about themselves, right? But having sexual relations with somebody who's mentally unstable is only gonna make them more mentally unstable. Let's be honest. This was not the right way to go about this. And here at the bottom we see the response from the other person, right? I'm not understanding how it could be a drunk mistake. You wouldn't immediately rectify it once you found out about it when you're sober. I appreciate you explaining it to me. This is the important part that I said to you, said at the start, right? All of this information we get basically comes from Owl's version, right? It is not somebody who originally was there when they found out about story. It could be half-truths here. It could be whatever, right? It is all from Owl and not anybody else, right? Here's the thing. I said this before, if you're drunk, it's still your mistake. And you should take responsibility for when you're drunk. But this is a good point too. You can't be drunk for a very long time. That gets back on the testimonies we have later. At some point he has to have been sober. You can't tell me he was 24/7 drunk and basically interacting with that person. Like, it's impossible to be drunk 24/7. Like that doesn't work. That it's not possible, right? So yeah, it wasn't only a drunk issue. Now we know exactly Owl's admissions, right? Keep in mind, I said this many times before, that was all Owl's side of the story, what we just witnessed. The person he was talking now with did not know the actual situation, and everything the person know was from our. Could be half-truths, could be truth, could be lie, right? Keep that in mind. So, we know now, our asked her more than once, supposedly, that she was over 18. That's what our said. He said also her answer was that she's of age, and that should have gotten his attention, but it did not, right? And the whole time I talked to her, I thought she was older. That's what our said too. By that, we can already see that this is not a case where age never came up, right? And according to our himself, he asked multiple times. That means he knew age was relevant. And that it should have been a big concern, honestly, right? We also have to consider the other person's perspective that I will talk to, right? They made some good points, in my opinion. If you think about it, first of all, they asked multiple questions, right? Questions like, if she did not give a clear answer, why continue? Why not confirm when sober? And why not ban her? These are 3 very important questions, in my opinion, right? If you're an adult and you're unclear about someone's age, especially in a community where there's like mostly children, then the adult has the job to stop riding with them. And obviously, do not flirt with them. Do not continue private conversations, and do not keep testing the lines. Even if you're under alcohol, even if you're under any kind of substance, that doesn't justify it. It does not. Okay, third of all, we have our in those chat logs admitting bad judgment, right? He said the following things like, clearly I fucked up. I wish I had banned her. Being drunk and horny didn't lead to the best choices. You have to consider these are not like any accusations from anybody. These are his own words. And he already admits that he messed up, right? That doesn't say that he wasn't catfished, but he already admits that he messed up. Yeah. You have to understand, you should not trust blindly what the chatlogs just said. You should not trust blindly what ours said. Meaning, if you're somehow involved with the case and you have seen the chatlogs I just showed you, or you have seen basically what ours said, or you have talked specifically with our, you should not trust that blindly. You have to understand, Owl's explanation relies heavily on the idea that he was drunk, right? And that he was misled or catfished. Thinking about that, all of these points basically minimize the situation. It could have been on purpose, it could have not been on purpose that he did that, right? But the thing is, according to people who are close to him, that was not the version they have heard from him. Meaning, the people close to him know differently about the situation than the chatlogs we have just seen. Meaning, there's somehow an inconsistency. Meaning, there are half-truths, right? And obviously, I would trust more the people close to him than the chatlogs we have just seen or the information you would receive from Owl. Because, let's just say, you are the one who did something bad. Obviously, you would try to minimize the situation. You would try to lie. You would try to say maybe only half-truths to make it not seem as bad. Obviously, I don't want to say, oh, I did that, because I obviously don't know. But you should not trust the person by just their word. The thing is, we said, hey, you can't delete Discord direct messages of the other person. In my opinion, if you really wanted to prove that you're not guilty, you should have at least shown stuff that makes you seem not guilty, right? I know some people defend him and say, yo, he deleted and cut off any contact. Sure. 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 But that doesn't make him less guilty, bro. That really does not make him less guilty. Like, if Aue really wants to prove that he's not guilty, then he needs to do a lot of things, bro. He needs to do a lot of things. Let's be honest. And not just say to take his word. Let's be honest. Now we get to the testimonies. You can already see I put some stuff on here to not like basically try to leak any Discord messages. I know sometimes you can tell by who said this, by the way they're writing it, right? But here's the first thing with the testimony, right? I mentioned to the person that Aue supposedly said that he was drunk and being misled, maybe even catfished, right? The response to that was, that's a new one. He didn't tell me that. That already makes it questionable if he was actually in that state, like in a drunk state during that time, if a close friend doesn't know that, right? But okay. They also said when Aue confessed, he allegedly did not mention being drunk. Which is very interesting because this is completely different from Aue's perspective from what we just heard, right? But okay, here's the time area we have. The entire thing was not a short thing that happened for maybe like a couple days, a couple weeks. It happened at least over half a year, bro. At least over half a year. Isn't that crazy? You cannot tell me that over half a year you have sexual interactions with a minor and you don't even know their age. This like at least half a year. This is insane. Like this is I can't even defend this, even if I wanted to defend this. Honestly, this is my personal thing. Aue was a great friend of mine too, like great streamer friend. He was basically one of the only streamer friends I had, right? And I was already wondering why he stopped streaming, and I was honestly like concerned. I thought everything is normal. I thought he just gave up on streaming, right? And then I hear stuff about this, and then I'm like, it makes me sad. It makes me frustrated. It makes me disappointed, honestly. And another thing is, we also hear here that Aue lied to a lot of people which were close to him regarding this case. And this made them a lot of disappointment too. But okay, let's move on. Next we have a testimony. Again. Okay. Basically, to summarize these things, we have a close friend to Aue says Aue's drunk/catfish explanation was new to them. They also said Aue lied to people. They said it was not an isolated moment, which adds up with our at least half a year thing, right? They say it was part of a longer pattern, which supports that again. They say they told him to seek therapy, which obviously makes it seem like a very serious matter again. If a close friend already tells you to seek therapy, then it already has to be incredibly bad, right? They say they do not hate him as a person, but they hate what he did. Which, if a friend person says this, it makes it even more seem like that Aue is guilty. Like, I'm saying this as an outsider perspective. Things are not looking good for Aue. It does not look good. They also cut contact and asked not to interact. I already said at the start of the video, I had to take out a lot of things and a lot of information that I even have because some people did not want it to be involved. I had to censor everybody involved because I don't want anybody to be attacked. Because the problem is, some people have been dealing with this for half a year, maybe even over half a year. And they're probably so sick of the situation, so hurt by the situation, that they don't just want to deal with this anymore and they don't want anything to do with this video. Exactly the reason why I had to take out a lot, but I still want you guys to spread awareness, or like, I still want to spread awareness, give you guys a good picture of this entire thing, and I still want you to understand how you can avoid this in the future, but we're going to talk about that later. Another thing also, when what people that were involved say does not match up with what Aue says, it doesn't really look good for Aue. It makes him seem guilty. I don't want to say he's guilty because I really don't. I really hate if I would say that, right? But it matters a lot because it gives you a clearer picture of the entire thing, right? It's not like I show you one screenshot and you're like, oh yeah, this happened or this happened. No, I'm giving you a picture of exactly the one side and the other side, right? It's multiple testimonies. It's the things that Aue said, the things that he admitted himself. It gives you a way better picture and you can think about it for yourself. Okay, let's take Aue's defense in consideration, right? We want to be fair here. Aue said he thought she was older. He said he was misled, basically, maybe like even catfished. He also said he cut contact with her immediately when he found out, right? But the thing is, even if we accept that he believed if she was older at first, he still admitted himself that age came up multiple times. And it was a long span of time, right? At least half a year. He still admits her answers were vague. He admitted that himself, right? He also admitted that he made bad choices. And he also admitted that he should have walked away. And multiple people close to him said he did not tell the full truth. I will let you think your own judgment here. I am just the information bringer here. I will give my opinion at some points, but here I will let you think for yourself, right? Now, before we continue over to the safety part of this video, I have another thing to say about another streamer. I said at the start of the video that the Aue was not the first person to be in any inappropriate situation with a minor as a streamer. I know this because I was good friends with that person. And I hate to say this. I really hate to say this. But the thing is, it would be unfair towards Aue if I would make awareness towards him and awareness in general, but not about the other person too. So I have to say this, even if I fucking hate to do this. The streamer named Graysocean was in a relationship with a minor. Now you're probably asking yourself, how do I know this? I know this because I was good friends with Graysocean. I even had him as friends on Snapchat. And I know this from the victim, you could say, themselves, right? I don't want to go over this thing too much because this is already older. This is not something that happened recently. This is a couple years old, actually. Yep. I can confirm. He did. At some point, obviously they were overage, but they started dating while she was underage. Okay, next we get into the safety things for streamer, right? You have to consider, if you're a streamer, right? You don't want to land in the same situation, right? This is exactly why we're talking about this. I'm a streamer myself, and I'm gonna tell you how to avoid these two things. It's actually pretty easy, right? You have two options on how to avoid a scenario like this, right? If you don't know what age your fans are, and you want to get in a specific, maybe even sexual relationship with that person, you have two options. First of all, you keep asking that person till you get a clear answer of their age over and over again. If they do not give you the age, that brings me to my second point, you stop writing with them. It's that easy. Now, as an adult streamer, if you're a streamer and you're an adult, the responsibility lies with you. Every adult has responsibility. It's at the start of the stream. I told you, do not attack anybody. If you're frustrated about this video or about anything I've said in this video or anything I've showed in this video, then you should take it out on me, because I take responsibility for this video and nobody else. Do not go up to any owl friends or anything like that. Do not talk to them. Just take it out on me. I take the responsibility for this video. I'm an adult. I take it, right? Same with the streamers. They take responsibility, right? They're grown adults. Okay, in this part of the video, I'm gonna talk about safety for the younger audience. This is what I mean sincerely. If you are under the age of 18, please understand the following. No streamer should ever have any sexual, romantic, or private DMs conversation that are secretive with you. It does not matter if the streamer is nice to you on the stream or seems nice to you on the stream. It does not matter if it makes you feel special if you talk to your favorite streamer in private DMs. And it does not matter if the streamer seems lonely to you. You should never send, as an underage person, to an adult person, any explicit images. You should never have any adult conversations in secret. And you should never have, in general, any adult conversations with that person. What I recommend too is, if you have any conversations as an underage person with adult streamers, save screenshots and recordings for your own safety. It is literally just for your own safety, right? And if needed, tell another trusted adult about it, right? Just keep yourself safe, please. Okay, next of all, here's my final message to the community. I said I take all responsibility, but I also asked for the following. Do not blindly defend any creators that were talked about in this video. You should take warning signs seriously. There were a lot of warning signs in this video, right? This doesn't only apply for the creators talked about in this video, it also applies for any other creators, right? If you have any warning signs with those creators, take those seriously, please. Do not attack any victims. Do not even demand for victims to reveal themselves, because it was already painful enough. Do not spread any uncensored screenshots. Do not harass anyone, please. If you want to harass somebody, harass me. And do not, please do not turn this entire thing into entertainment. Yes, you could say I made a YouTube video about this and I'm turning this into entertainment. No, as I said, I'm doing this video to inform people about this entire case, to spread awareness, and for the safety of the younger audience and the safety of the community in general, right? You gotta protect the people, man. You do. Okay, and now we get to the final conclusion of this our case. Obviously not the Gray case, because I know Gray is, yeah, guilty. Don't really want to talk about that. But okay. Howard's case, my conclusion is, based on the chat logs, Howard's own admissions, and all of the testimonies that we had from people close to him, I believe we see in this case serious misconduct, ignored warnings, and a pattern of minimization in this case, right? It doesn't matter if our claims that he was drunk, misled, or confused, or whatever, right? He, as an adult, needs to take the responsibility in this case. And it was honestly his responsibility to stop once he questioned the age. We also brought up that there's no way that Owl could have been drunk 24/7, which also leads to this verdict, right? But please do not go up to Owl and harass him. This video is not for that, please. Please. Just stop trusting creators blindly. Obviously, I'm also saying, do not trust me. Like, I'm saying this, do not trust me blindly too. I'm also just another streamer. This video has been going on way too long, and honestly, I did not enjoy a single second. I did not enjoy collecting the evidences, and I'm probably not gonna enjoy editing this shit too. But yeah, what can I say? Believe minors. If you have evidence, report it to trusted people. And never let internet friendship or any like internet streamers or people that you know from the internet make you ignore red flags, please. Do not trust anybody on the internet. That's what I learned when I was young, and I recommend doing the same for everybody else. Well, with that, I hope you now have a better understanding. I hope you're aware of the situation, and I hope you learned something out of this. If not, then maybe I failed with this video. But who knows? Hopefully we can have some better times now, chat. So, I will see you. Whatever. Maybe if you don't know me, I'm menoXD. I will see you. Bye bye. 2 good times.
Come on, Shackle and Wild. Cat comes off. Oh, no, they clipped that file.
I don't know. I will instantly jack off to you after stream. I swear to God.
And he's thrown under the lights. Every rose just after the high. Release the metal files. Let the truth go viral.
I would love to be friends with you, but I do have to tell you I'm gay.
Bald and brutal style. Laughing like it's trial. No headline, no denial. We just crank it higher. Mano Island ball breakers set the stream on fire. Mano Island ball breakers set the stream on fire. They say wig, he says why? Got that shit you can see for miles. Rub that head for lucky plays. Bit by bit, he's farming the red. Release the metal files, let the truth go viral.
I would love to be friends with you, but I do have to tell you I'm gay.
Bald and brutal style, laughing like it's trial. No hairline, no denial, we just crank it higher. Mano Island ball breakers set the stream on fire. Mano Island ball breakers set the stream on fire. ring of chrome. Just bam, let it roll. Every L turns gold. Ball crew, hands up high, shave it down, wear the pride. If you're shiny, you're alive. Scream it one more time. Release the metal files, let the truth go viral.
I would love to be friends with you, but I do have to tell you I'm gay.